blood, sweat and tears, in the sense that you underwent important transformations. Some of you told me this was the best time in my life. Others told me I died many deaths on this summer camp, in the sense of having such, seeing a mirror before my eyes and seeing, oh, there are some things to be corrected still. So I was requested to give you a message home. My message is, try to keep the spirit which you have absorbed in the summer camp and develop it further. Let us not use these 4 days like an ignorant person who tries to carry water in his hands and loses the water very quickly. In other words, if we do not come out of the summer camp with a firm resolution to apply what we have learned in our Krishna conscious life, we might lose the beautiful atmosphere and the beautiful realizations when we go into our daily lives and meet the challenges which are waiting there for us. Our own weaknesses maybe, our just different people who drive us mad, circumstances which are not exactly the way we would like them to be. All these things can be the cause for losing our inspiration if we do not keep the spirit, if we are like people who hope to carry water in these hands. You know, it doesn't work like this. So I want to talk for a few minutes on just some ways how to keep an inspiration and how to enhance it, how to make it bigger so that it can really be of use for our life. The very first principle really is that we must be prepared to transform our heart. Do you know what is the most important word in Krishna consciousness describing what is happening? It's a transformation of the consciousness. The books of Srila Prabhupada are not so much for information, but they are for transformation. Something is expected to happen in us. I would like to illustrate this point with a little story. Once there was a river who flowed and came to a desert. When he came to the desert, he lost itself in the sand. He tried to gather more force. I want to cross this desert. But no matter how he tried, he always lost himself in the sand. Versickerte. I don't know the English word, but I think you know, when water runs into sand, it disappears. So it was praying, how can I cross this desert? One day, the air came. My dear river, I see that you are losing your battle in life. I know how you can cross the desert. You have to transform yourself. You have to become a cloud, and I will carry you over the desert. Transform myself? Said the river. I try on my own, the way I am. And again ran to the desert and lost itself. Finally, he saw, yes, I have to transform myself. The air carried him upwards to a cloud, or the wind carried him upwards to a cloud and blew him over the desert, and on the other side of the desert he rained down and became a beautiful flowing river, flowing to the ocean. So in the same way, we will all now come to our private deserts. For someone, the desert is the school or the job. For someone, the desert is his own problematic existence in this world. For someone, the desert is an unsolved relationship. There are many deserts. For others, the desert is just the desert of the heart, the dryness in the heart. We can cross it very easily, the desert, if we are prepared to transform ourselves. Now, by the mercy of the acharyas and our sampradaya, we have been handed the process how to do this. Transformation process is there. Srila Prabhupada has given this to us, and there are really 5 important principles. The first is chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra in full attention. The second principle is to read daily in the scriptures, Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, Ishopanishad, Chaitanya Charitamrita, Nectar of Devotion. The third principle is proper association with devotees or saintly minded people. The fourth principle is to eat prasadam. The fifth principle is to make our home a place of worship. And the sixth principle, well, that's the fifth principle. So these things, if we apply them in our jivatskis, our lives, they will help us to transform. By chanting every day, our mind becomes focused on Krishna. By reading every day in the scriptures, we will remember Krishna and see the world according to the eyes of knowledge. By being together with devotees, visiting temples, inviting devotees to the temples, we will feel how practical spiritual life is, and we will feel the encouragement. By eating prasadam, you know what happens, I don't need to explain this point. And by worshipping at the house, this morning we explained a little ceremony, just having a little altar and just offering the Lord a flower or some water, what we cook. Then we can transform our heart, and we will surely cross the desert of material existence by the Lord's mercy. So, in summary, I've learned something from Sridhar Maharaj. In summary, we want to keep the inspiration alive, and we will be able to do this by transforming our heart. We will be able to cross our private deserts by a transformation. This transformation is really possible if we start to chant regularly our fixed number of rounds, whatever it is, reading every day in Srila Prabhupada's books, associating with devotees, eating prasadam, and worshipping the Lord in our lives. This will help us to keep the inspiration which we got. You don't know what you got. You have no idea what gifts have been presented to you. I also not. You have loads full, or cars full, or hearts full. So that's this, a hearts full of presents. Now just please go home, and one after the others unpack these presents presence by transforming your heart. Then you will be able to see the nectarine presence which you have been gotten. Srila Prabhupada ki jai! Sisi Gauni Thai ki jai! Living in the Vrajavas summer camp ki jai! Go Premanandi Hari!
Šrila Krishna Kshetra Prabhuja, da nam isto ispriča neke svoje realizacije.
Om Jnana-timirandasya Jnanjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manovishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Svayam Rupagadamahyam Danati Swavanandikam Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyeva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare.
When I first got message, invitation from Udharta Prabhu to come to this summer camp, I thought, ooh, summer camp? And suddenly I had sort of horrible memories of when I was 10 years old and my parents sent me to a YMCA summer camp in Wisconsin, USA, for 3 weeks, and I was miserable the whole time. They made us do all kinds of nonsense things. So I was a little hesitant. Anyway, this is a wonderful summer camp, isn't it? It reminds me actually, also, yes, some months ago I was in Kumbh Mela, which is the biggest winter camp in the universe, probably. Several million people come together and they converge on Ganga Devi for purification. You've been to Kumbh Mela more than once. One thing about this Kumbh Mela is that from about 5 o'clock in the morning until midnight, there are approximately, I don't know how many, 300,000 maybe loudspeakers blasting 300,000 different things at once. And I think these poor people here, they all come for, spiritual upliftment. And what do they get? They get a total cacophony of messages from all directions. None of them really so spiritual. Of course, the International Society for Krishna Consciousness has their center there, and that's really what saves it, because Srila Prabhupada used to go there. Actually, going there, I realized what austerity Srila Prabhupada would go through. He stayed there sometimes, how long? A couple of weeks. I lasted 2.5 days. It was really difficult. Anyway, they were all going there for purification, for elevation. They were all bathing in the Ganga. In that way it was very nice. But this confusion of sound was the main thing that I remembered. And it made me think how fortunate we are here in this miniature Mela festival, which is actually quite big for Slovenia, and which is going to be bigger next year, I'm sure. Proving that the spiritual world is actually unlimited, it is always expanding. We're very fortunate because we are hearing the pure message of Krishna consciousness coming in this line of disciplic succession from Lord Krishna, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the 6 Goswamis, our previous acharyas. And we can get the complete package, the complete program, how to go back home, back to Godhead. So, the little message that I want to give is that in order to do what Sridhar Swami is saying, namely to be some kind of devotee, to do, how did he put it? To be some kind of devotee for Krishna. And to do what Sacinandana Swami is saying, to transform our consciousness. Srila Prabhupada would say, do the needful. Do the needful. In that little statement, he was implying that we have to use our intelligence, how to do whatever is necessary in order to attain this sublime goal. Now, Prabhupada didn't just leave it at that. Okay, you figure it out. No. He gave a nice little formula with 4 aspects, 4 points. The first of these is books are the basis. In English it comes very nicely. How is it in Croatian? Books are the basis. Knjiga su osnova. Like that? Knjiga su osnova. So, not any books, but the books of Srila Prabhupada. These wonderful translations, realizations of Vedic literature. Then, what do we do with the books? Well, preaching is the essence. How does that go in Croatian? Propovedanje zuština. Yeah? Propovedanje zuština. Zuština. Suština. Actually, all of us should become preachers of Krishna consciousness. And for that, we should become ideal ladies and gentlemen, as we are learning from Sridhar Swami in his nice seminar. And then, how are we going to preach? Purity is the force. Zistocha jest snaga. And how are we going to become pure? Utility is the means.
Praktično jest sredstvo. Sredstvo, yes. So this is the formula for how we do the needful. So in each and every one of our situations, we have to see, now that we have all of this nice inspiration, we don't want it to go through our fingers, we want to transform it, how to do it, whatever has to be done, that we should do. However proactive we have to be. However, yes. So, this is really all I want to say, except I feel highly obliged to all of the organizers of this program. I feel unlimitedly obliged to my godbrothers, whose association, without whose association I would have been lost. And I feel highly obliged to all of you who are actually, without listeners, there are no speakers. So this is wonderful. And we, as Bhaktivinoda Thakur said, let this chanting go on like this. Srila Prabhupada said. So let this summer camp go on like this, year after year after year after year after year. And between summer camps, let the Krishna consciousness expand unlimitedly. Thank you very much.
Sada bi zamolila još Sarvabhavanu Prabhuju da nam isto podaje jednu poruku.
Amagyanatimirandhasya gyananjana shalakaya chakshur unmilitam yena tasmai Sri Gurave namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. I'd like to first of all thank everybody in the summer camp who made this summer camp such a success, the organizers, all of you, come rain, come shine, you were always there to attend to the seminars, to the prasadam, to all the programs. And the success is not because of numbers, but because of the enthusiasm. And this enthusiasm was what is called infectious. You receive enthusiasm and you try to give back enthusiasm, and again it comes back to you, and that way it increases and it becomes very pleasurable. Anyway, that was my feeling. And I want to thank all my God brothers for their association, and also taking off the burden of me of giving a message, because they have given all the messages. So I would like to take back their message and simply repeat them so that I know I've got them right, and maybe just help all of us to remember them. Sridhar Maharaj's message was, whatever you are, be something for Krishna. Is that right, Maharaj? His Holiness Sacinandana Maharaj said we should transform ourselves to be able to apply these Krishna conscious instructions in our life. Krishna-ksetra Prabhu said that do the needful, follow Prabhupada's instructions, the 4 pillars that he has given us in the form of the 4 instructions for ISKCON. Books are the basis, preaching is the essence, utility is the principle, and purity is the force. So, thank you very much, and hope to see you bring more others to join in this camp, so that next time we have 2 camps in 1 year, or 3 camps in 1 year. Bravo!
Hare Krishna. Zdaj bom govoril v hrvaščini, tako da, ker nas večina hrvaški in vsi Slovenci razumemo hrvaško, v glavnem, zato ću pričati to v hrvatskom jeziku. V glavnem, ja bi se v imenu organizatora zahvalil svima vama, koji ste došli vama, duhovnim učiteljima, bi se zahvalio i isto bi se zahvalio svim našim domaćinima iz Apaškog polja, koji su bili vrlo gostoljubni i ljubazni i molio bi za njih jedan veliki haribol. Prije nego što smo došli, izašao je članak u lokalnim novinama i njihov naslov je bio "Dolaze vegetarijanci". I svaki ko bi došao, prvo bi pitao da li stvarno jedete mesa. Ja, i do sada nisam znao zašto su to pitali, jer smo tek danas otkrili te novine. Uglavnom, došao je ovdje i župan ovog grada, ovog područja. On je bio već 2 puta u Indiji i bio vrlo zahvalan što smo ovdje, što smo ovim ljudima i cijelom ovom dijelu pokazali neki alternativni način života. I povabio nas da dođemo i drugi put. Imali smo puno susreta sa svim ovim ljudima, sa vama i recimo sa radijske televizije su rekli šta je to, svi ovi ljudi su nasmijani. Šta je sa njima? Onda ovi ljudi koji su radili sa njama su rekli šta je to? Ovdje se sve samo događa, niko se ne prepire, sve radi automatski. Šta je sad ovo? Uglavnom, svi ovi ljudi su vrlo fini. I jednom kad smo išli da tražimo loptu za basket kod njih, onda jedan od momaka koji je sad ovdje otišao sa nama u auto da mu pokažemo nešto, onda video sliku od Šrila Prabhupada. Samo sliku koja nije ništa pisalo. Onda je rekao, vidi, ovo je His Divine Grace. Prepoznao Šrila Prabhupada i tako ga imenovao His Divine Grace. To znači da može jedan aplauz za njega. uglavnom to je jedno malo ovakvih utrinaka od ovih ljudi ovog festivala. Nadamo se da ste imeli vi slične iskustva, ja sam siguran. I ako ste imeli neka druga iskustva, kao što da ste se tuširili mrzlom vodom, da su bile linije, da je pala kiša, molimo, izvinite Indiri. Izvinite organizatorima što smo pravili želitve, što smo bili tako neuki, space out, kako se kaže. I sve bih vas zamolio da dođete drugi put, da nam date blagoslove, da se opet sretnemo na ovom području Europe i da napravimo još veći festival. Hvala.
Now comes the real essence of this evening. We have told you what our experience has been. Now I want some of you to come up and tell us what your experience has been. So we don't have a lot of time. I'd like to hear from each and every one of you. So if you can all just speak for about 10 seconds, then we can get everybody No, not 10 seconds, but I think if, you know, we do this in Mayapur when we have the parikrama, the walking padayatra all around Mayapur. Every year they go for a week, and after they come back. How many have been on Mayapur, Gaur-Mandal parikrama? Some of you have been there. Isn't it fun? What do we say there? Gauranga! And you see all the devotees come back from Mayapur, and all they're doing is walking around saying, Gauranga! Gauranga! And you know they've been on Gaur-Mandal parikrama. But what we do there at the end is we have the devotees come up and say a few words. So I'd like to have at least half a dozen of you, 3 ladies and 3 men, come up, and if anybody feels strongly, otherwise I'm going to pick you out. So I don't believe in volunteer system. So So is there anybody who'd like to say something about the realizations they've had and what this camp has meant to them and what they'll do when they go home? Any of our congregation, any of the seniors in the back, or the babies in the front here? Anybody who'd like to say anything? Okay, come, or stand up. Can you speak loudly, or you can speak into the mic, actually?
At the first day at Mangalarati, I was shocked. What am I doing here? I want to go home. Well, today I chanted 20 rounds. I don't know if I will continue 20 rounds, but I will surely force myself to continue with 16 rounds.
Die. 16 rounds, Steve! Any others? Anyone else? Otherwise I'm going to start picking you out. Anybody like to... Yes, please.
Jaz sem dosegel svoj cilj, s 4 duhovne učitelje spoznal. To je moj cilj. Osebno.
Great. That's the goal of human life, to meet your spiritual master. Anyone else? I want at least 6 of you. Come on. Surely this camp must have meant something to all of you. Can't you tell us what it meant? Share it with us? Yes, please. Please stand up, Mata. Would you like the microphone? Let's give it. Okay.
I just want to say that my body didn't have the best time of his life, but I did.
Yeah. Anybody else feel like that? Any other stories? What about you, sir? Yes. Stand up, stand up. No, I want to hear him speak. Play football? You want to play football for Krishna? No.
I would also like to hear all of this because I've had so much service, I didn't know if everything goes right or wrong. Just doing, working all the time.
You were working very hard, serving all the Vaishnavas? Thank you very much. Let's give him a big hand. More ladies?
In fact, he was buying all the vegetables.
Wow.
He was doing all the shopping every morning.
He was letting the villagers know that the vegetarians have come.
He had a feast going.
Stand up.
I had one problem here. I wasn't able to get up on Mangalarati, and one night the rain was falling down and there was a flood in my tent. So I had to go in this building to sleep. And in 3:30 in the morning, all the alarm clocks started to ring. And there was no other but to get up.
Great.
That day he moved away from the alarm clock. I'll tell you a Prabhupada story. This is a neat little story. Once in Los Angeles, Srila Prabhupada was sitting in his quarters at his desk, a low desk, and he was talking to Jayatirtha and Karandar, and I think his servant was there also. And they were talking about business of book publication, and it's not so bad to be a businessman. But they were talking about that, and this young boy, his name was Bhakta Vishwareta. He was about 4 years old, and actually he had brought his parents to the movement. He had seen the devotees on Harinam, and his parents were out on the town, and he was with them, this Bhakta Vishwareta, 4-year-old boy, and he had seen the Harinam party, and he got very attracted to it. So he cried and screamed, and he forced his parents to come to the temple in Berkeley. So they got eventually attracted, and they became devotees. So he was also very much into devotional service. I mean, right from the very beginning of his life, it was like taking up from a previous lifetime. So anyway, they eventually came to Los Angeles, where Prabhupada was, and this little boy developed a little kind of friendship with Prabhupada. In the morning, Prabhupada used to come to the temple, and all the devotees would give Prabhupada a flower, and Prabhupada would give them back a flower. As he walked towards the temple, the devotees would line up. And Bhakta Vishwareta was there, and Prabhupada would always stop and say a few, nice things to him, encourage 4-year-old boy. So anyway, this one day, this Bhakta Vishwareta came up to Prabhupada's quarters, and he had on his dhoti and kurta, and he offered his obeisances to Prabhupada, and so Prabhupada said, do you want anything? We're having a meeting. Bhakta Vishwareta said no, so Prabhupada said, you go and wait in the other room. So the little boy went into the other room, and Prabhupada had some Jagannath deities there, Jagannath, Baladev, and Subhadra deities. So the boy sat down, you know, in lotus posture with his leg up like this, and he sat in front of the deities, and he was just meditating on the deities. And so the meeting was going on, and they kind of forgot about Bhakta Vishwareta. But he was just sitting there very patiently, very calmly, in front of the deities, little 4-year-old boy. But he kept looking over at Prabhupada and then looking back at the deities. So after some time, Prabhupada said, Bhakta Vishwareta, do you want to go now? And he said, yes, Prabhupada. So Prabhupada said, okay, you can go. And then he turned to Karandar and he said, just see, this is the success of our movement, that a 4-year-old boy has been given an order by his spiritual master, and even he doesn't want to follow. I mean, it's a little awkward for him. But just because the spiritual master has asked him, therefore he's doing it. This is the success of our movement. So the real success of the Krishna consciousness movement is when we'll be able to make our children Krishna conscious, because they'll be the future leaders of the world, the flowers that will bloom and lead the world out of darkness. So it's very wonderful that all of you have brought, or some of you have brought your children with you, and you're exposing them to Krishna consciousness. And I think it's really, really important that we put our money and our energy and our intelligence into educating our children. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Sada bi išli na sljedeći dio. To je svima vama bi se još jednom zahvalili za svu vašu pomoć, za vašu družbu, jer bez vas ne bi mogli organizirati ovako projekt. Tako da bi pozvali sad po različitim službama ili odjeljcima sve ljude, sve bakte koji su učestvovali u tome i vam se zahvalili, i tako jednu skromni poklon smo pripremili za vas, tako da sad ćemo zvati vas svakoga posebno i molimo da dođete tu. Šila Sacinandana Maharaj će dati vama svima poklone, tako da kao prvo bi ja pozvala 5 bakta koji su pomogli uvijek svuda kad god se ih je zvalo. To je bio Mitja. Molimo Mitja da dođeš. I Simona nek dođe još.
Sad ćemo da povabimo gore sljedeću ekipu, to su naše kšatrije. Oni su vas brinuli za vas kad ste spavali, oni su vam postavili šatore, oni su usmjerili automobile. Zato bi sad pozvao gore Ramapati, Prabhuja, Leona, Urošaj, Bhakti Barava, Prabhuja. Haribo! su stvarno dobro pazili, nije bilo nikakvih problema i da bi to sve steklo kao treba su spavali po neke samo 3 do 4 sata na dan. Tako da su stvarno su bili vrlo snažni.
I sada još jedna velika ekipa koja je brinula za to da smo jeli tako divan prašadam. I sada ću pozvati sve bakte, tako da molim da dolazite jedan za drugim. Glavni kuvari su bili Darpaha Prabhu, Sridhar Prabhu, ona je kuvala za naše duhovne učitelje. Ostali, a svi jako dobri i vrijedni pomagači su bili Bhaktin Vasilija, Bhakta Leon, Aleš iz Ilirske Bistrice, Zoran Žnidaršić, Bhaktin Neža, Bhaktin Tina Mačković. Molimo da svi dolazite. Molimo da svi dođete. Bhaktin Vasilija, Bhakta Leon, Bhakta Aleš iz Ilirske Bistrice, Bhakta Zoran Žnidaršić, Bhaktin Neža, Bhaktin Tina. Bhaktin Armen, Jahovina. Bhakta Mario Šuletić. Tu su još 5 bakta koji su nam pomagali da smo mogli organizirati ove seminare kad su bili recimo dvojica seminara u isto vrijeme i pomagali kod informacijama da smo svima ljudima mogli pripremiti nekav doček ili odrediti im gdje će spavati i tako. A za to su brinuli Bhakta Bobo, Bhaktin Suzana, Bhakta Borut, Bhaktin Manica i Bhakta Matej.
Sad ćemo najaviti par bakta koji su već pre mjesec dana počeli da rade na tom projektu koji su ponekad radili do 3 sata ujutro, već pred 2 tjedna, 3 tjedne nazad i koji su isto tako ovih dana puno pomogli. To su svi članovi naše kongregacije, studenti ili zaposleni u službama i su se, recimo, dali su sve od sebe da sebe i vas, sve zajedno da se svi uključimo u službu Krišne. Njihovi imena su Mare,
jednu baktinu koja je brinula za sve nas ako se nekome desilo nešto što nije bilo u planu. Naprimjer, neko si je posekao prst, onda nekoga je bolela glava i nekoga je ujela, ne znam, neka pčela i nešto. I za sve to je brinila baktin Frida. Transcendentalni vrtić, gdje nisu bile profesorice tako stroge koje inače u školama. Inače su profesionalne profesorice, i za sve to je organizirala baktin Ljubav. Ekipu još više osoba i jedna je isto bila tako transcendentalna, pošto se nalazimo u selu koji se zove Vrađavas i tako da je bila jedna profesorica se zvala Rada, se zove Rada. Tako da je svi sami sreću.
Još našu izvanrednu glumicu Zdenku Heršavu.
Došli tako masovno u Bakta teatar, ja pretpostavljam da je to zbog toga što niste trebali kupiti karte.
Tako svima vama se još jednom puno zahvaljujemo. Ako smo nekoga zaboravili, molimo vas, izvinite nam. Zahvaljujemo se stvarno svima I kao što je rekao danas ujutro na lekciji Šrila Sacinandana Maharaj, definitivno svi zajedno smo zapisani u Krišnovoj knjigi. Krišna nas ima sad sve zapisane, svi smo na njegovom spisku, tako da nema više sumnje za nikoga od nas.
I sada bih kazao da ja nešto za naša dva glavna, Udardo Prabhuja i Nandi Muki Mataji. Da im dovoljno. Ako ne bi bilo njih dvoje, mislim, kongregacija u Ljubljani i u Sloveniji se počutila kao deo familije Iskona i tako, i mislim, samo zbog njih dveh i ostalih članova Ljubljanskog templa, i tako smo se počutili povezane, mislim, zaista kao familija, mislim, Nandi Muki Mataji i Udardo Prabhu ki!
Da još ne zaboravimo, svaki mora dobiti nagradu, a specijalno najzaslužniji su naši dragi gosti, naši duhovni učitelji. Tako da ćemo još svima njima dati jedan divan tanjur sandeše.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Opening our eyes, we were all standing in the darkness of ignorance. We didn't know how to use our energy. We were acting like cats and dogs. But now, we know how to use our energy. All we have to do is chant. Nitai Gaura! So if we just chant 24 hours